Welcome to another broadcast of The Competitive Edge. Today, as usual, we're going to have another exciting broadcast. Today, we're going to be looking at the face of self mastery in the context of sales communication. Now, on today's talking points, we will cover a number of essential areas that will help you to better understand what the face of self mastery looks like and how to apply it to your life. So, in that context, you're going to be learning about the sales SCP, which is the sales communication process, and how does that helps you to master who you are. You will learn about the BFC, which is the business finance consultant. You have an opportunity here to learn everything that you need to know about becoming a BFC. So in 2024, you can position yourself to build wealth like a pro. You will also learn from a great leader. You will learn about how leadership applies to self mastery and really give you the tools to adopt these concepts, these tools, these principles to your life so you can better master who you are, so you can achieve much more in life. Along with this, you're going to be hearing from another colleague, and he will be really helping you to understand the importance of having your personal life master plan and how does that plan plays into self mastery. So in today's talking points, I have a number of dynamic personality in studio today to help me navigate the conversation. I have Frank and Clement Frank. He is an economist by profession, and he's a practicing leader who lead with from the standpoint of really empowering people to become the best version of themselves. I also have Paul Whitehouse. And Paul Whitehouse is a financial specialist. He's the person that is going to talk to you about multiple financial instruments. Along with talking to you about multiple financial instruments, he's the guy that's going to really help you to access the capital to grow and scale your business. Now, along with this, we have Peter Scott, and Peter Scott is the brain behind Legacy Chronicle. And on his platform, he talks to you a whole lot about having your personal life master plan and how this plan can play a significant role in helping you to attain self mastery. Guys, I want to welcome you to today's program. How are you guys?
Doing great, doing great.
Doing good today.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm
Hey,
glad to
man.
hear that. Glad to hear that. All right, just before we start to rock and roll with today's program, I want to share with the public some essential habits that they should adopt. So, again, I want to encourage you just before I get to those habits, I want to encourage you to like this program, share this program, and do subscribe to this program. Now, habit one, it's important for you to invest in adequate rest. Why so? Because when you rest, you increases your melatonin. And by increasing your melatonin, you increases your serotonin. Serotonin is the energy that you have after a rest. And to do the things that you need to do in life, you need to have that energy. The second habit that I want to recommend is get adequate daily exercise. Exercise is very important. It enhances your mental health and your physical health. The third habit I want to recommend that you get is eat the right food. Not all food is good for you. Try your best to use organic food. The fourth habits that I want you to really look at is invest in quality family time. Why quality family time is so important? Great leaders leave a legacy. Peter will talk to us about legacy. Family is an extension of you, of who we are. So you need to have invest in quality family life. Last but not least, is invest in a healthy social lifestyle. Why so? Very often you would have heard me say things like relationship is the mother of all social system. So if you want to be successful in life, remember that relationship can help you to position yourself for success. Now, I trust that you practice those habits in your life. Those who are practicing, I want you to reach out to me ever so often and tell me how these practices are really helping you to live a better quality of life. So, with that being said, I want us to go straight into our discussion today. Today, we are talking about self mastery in the context of sales communication. And what I want to do is to really emphasize to the public. One second. Yes, sorry about that. I want to emphasize to the public the great importance in building self mastery around sale. Now, let me just put some context to what self mastery is. Self mastery is you being in control of you, is you being in that position to self determine, is you taking ownership of your life, your dreams, and your hopes and your aspiration, and you move away from shifting the blame. You want to bring yourself where you take full responsibility for your actions and your inaction. And one of the things that you can do right here and right now is make that decision to become the best version of yourself. And one way in which you can become the best version of yourself is to become a sales communication professional. Now, let me just walk you through some of what are the benefits of becoming a sales communication professional. One, you will learn about sales objective, and every business depends on sale. If you can't sell, that business will die a slow and painful death or a fast and painful death. Now, some of the things that you want to learn under the sales objective is how to be known. Every business have to go through that known curve. If you're not known, nobody have reasons to want to invest in you. Nobody have reasons and enough motive to want to work with you. But you see, when you break through that known zone, that unknown zone, and you know what you're doing, you're now liked and you're now trusted. But in learning sales objective, it is the understanding of how to apply or deploy the right tools in applying that sales objective is what's going to help you to win. To get to that know, like, and trust, we will talk to you about a concept that we call the influencer model. And the influencer model is what's going to help you to really master your skill set in that sales process. You really want to put yourself in that position as well to become a master in this regard. Now, I want to come to Paul because Paul is going to talk to us about the BFC. Today's program is all about helping you to become the best version of yourself. Paul is going to be talking to you today about the BFC, and which is how to become a business finance consultant. And to become successful as a BFC, you need to understand sales. So, Paul, I'm going to pass over to you. Can you give us a little insight into some of the benefits of what is the BFC and what are some of the benefits of becoming a BFC?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Gary. Good morning, everybody. BFC stands for Business Finance Consultant. That's what I am. And as it relates to self mastery, sales communication, sales are important. As Gary said, if you're not known, seen, liked, and trusted, you probably won't get to the point to where you have the opportunity to make too many sales presentations. So branding and marketing, which we talk about a lot on this show, leads up to what we're talking about now. With all that in place, and you're ready to start making sales and making presentations, what do you do then if you've never done it? How do you do it? Sales is a science. It really is. But it's not so hard that you can't learn it. I believe all of us here think it's very simple. I think lots of people think sales are very simple. Um, and self mastery as related to sales or as related to anything, unless there is a benefit, what's your motivation for trying to master it? Probably none. So, if you're sick, if you have some, if you're sick or out of shape, that's the benefit to exercise. You're not going to be in that bad position no more. You're not going to feel bad. You're going to feel better. That's why you're going to exercise. That's the benefit of mastering yourself to wake up in the morning or and go work out, to walk, to do whatever you do. You have to have a benefit to do it. So let's talk about the benefit to being a business finance consultant and sales mastery as it's related to that. So what we're doing together with High Net Worth Investors Guide and the Competitive Edge and Global Capital Incorporated, Patriot BFC has partnered with Gary and Global Capital Incorporated to uh, hire 100 business finance consultants. What do you do if you're a business finance consultant? You provide financing. You are the expert because finance is a mystery. You are the expert. We're going to teach you to be an expert in business finance consulting. That means providing financing to businesses. Think about how many businesses are in America and across the world. What do they all have in common? They need capital. So you've got a really large market to target, okay? In your family, there's business owners. In your friend circle, there's business owners. And if there's not, then ask your family and friends to expand into their circles and find their business owner friends. You get clients by asking for clients, by searching for them and finding them. How do you find them? Well, branding and marketing is definitely one way so that they come to you. Another way is you're going to have to go out, jump on professional networks like LinkedIn, connect, send messages, and tell people what you do and ask them if they can, use your services. So, Patriot Business Finance Consultants, I will be your trainer. I will teach you everything. Full training, full support. Let me underline that. All capital letters, full, underlined a couple times. Full training, full support. We will pour ourselves into you to make you a professional. So you will gain the knowledge of what is equipment financing? How does it work? What's the language? What are the terms? Okay. Every profession has a different language, different keywords that you use that people in that industry understand and know. So you'll learn the language, you'll learn the terms. We're going to teach it to you so well, and you're going to have to participate if you want to with self-study, which is self-mastery, effort, um, determination to get the job done. Real estate financing. Did you ever think, and who am I talking to here? I'm talking to somebody who wants to career change. I'm talking to somebody who wants to make 10 times the amount of money they're making right now. Talking to somebody who wants to leave a legacy for their kids. Okay, now a legacy is not only money. It's not. We all know that. But it helps. Okay, it helps. It makes their lives easier. You can put your kids in a position of financial intelligence, using money wisely, growing their money. So, as a business finance consultant, you will be able to solve problems for business owners, provide them the capital that they need to grow their businesses. That would be equipment financing, commercial and investment property financing, cash flow products like factoring and purchase order financing, and how to raise money to build factories like the one behind me. Sounds like a big subject, and it is, but I promise you, it's not hard to learn. If I can do it, I know you can do it. And I also know that I can teach it to you. So I'm going to save this one for next time I talk. I got some bullet points right here, but I'm just going to save this one for the next time.
Right. All right. Thanks a lot, Sharon
Yeah.
and Paul. Uh, so I trust that the listening audience, today we have designed today's program just for you. And we are not just saying to you, become a master of yourself in isolation to all the benefits. We are here today to talk to you about becoming a master in as a BFC. And that in itself is going to help you to understand money, how money works, and it's going to position you to make money. We're here to talk to you about becoming an SCP, which is a sales communication professional. I'll go deeper into that just now. But here is where you learn the art and the science of sales. And by understanding the art and the science of sale and mastering the ability to apply yourself at the art and science of sale, you become unstoppable. In all aspects of your life, you become unstoppable. So we're going to give you the tools to win in every aspect of your life, to make money and position yourself for greatness. All you need to do is to respond to this program. And you could be in 50 states in the United States of America. We want to work with you. All right. We want to train you to become a BFC. We want to train you to become an expert in talk to businesses. And we want to train you to position yourself for financial greatness. I want to come now to Frank to talk to us about the importance of leadership as it relates to the subject of self mastery.
All right, thanks, Gary. Self mastery, leadership. What comes to mind is emotional intelligence, which is important for self mastery, for leadership. Um, the question is, do you know how other people experience you? Or are you aware of the impact that you have on the people around you? Every person experiences you and the world differently. That's why whether you had a leadership title, which is for years, or you're now starting your first job, postgraduate, increasing your emotional intelligence is crucial to building up your leadership skills. Statistics show that 95% of people think that they're emotionally intelligent. But there's only 9 to 10% of those same people that are actually emotionally intelligent. And the reason, the number one person we'll ever have to lead is ourselves. The hardest person we have to lead is ourselves. And the number one person we'll neglect leading is ourselves.
Themselves. That's
So
funny.
if emotional intelligence is the number one indicator of our present and future success, why do we do this? My proposal to you is that it's because most of us don't really have the tools or the know-how. See, great leaders master self-leadership. And my talk today is to equip you with the tools to, one, know yourself first, lead yourself second, and then know the kind of impact that you're creating and leaving on others. And so before I give a dive in, I want to establish a solid definition of what emotional intelligence is. It's the ability to perceive, to use, understand, manage, and handle emotion. That is what emotional intelligence is. And the first step to increasing your self-awareness is to understand what your tendencies are. I want to say that there are 3 R's to know self and develop self leadership. So, tendency is anything that is hardwired into your brain or a learned inclination towards a specific characteristic of behavior. Using these 3 R's of emotional intelligence helps direct you towards identifying what your tendencies are. So the first R is recognize. Recognize, this is self-awareness. It's the ability to understand yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are those tendencies? What are the patterns of behavior, etc.? This is the essence of understanding what it's like to be on the other side of you. The second one is read, which is quickly becoming a lost art. And this is social awareness, the ability to read those around you and adapt your behavior accordingly. And this is not only understanding how you view the world, but also being in tune with how others view the world. And from that, you'll know how you can adapt what you do to bring out the best in them. The third one is respond. And this is self-regulation. It's the ability to control your emotions when you find yourself in triggering situations. How many times have you seen someone diminish someone else of their leadership influence because they responded the wrong way in a situation? And in many ways, we've all done it. And we often don't even realize the impact. To master self-leadership, recognizing helps you unpack how your tendencies impact those around you. Whether you've been leading people for years or you're just beginning your leadership journey. Identifying your tendencies, good and bad, makes you more self-aware and a better overall leader. There are tools like the DISC, D-I-S-C, Clifton Strengths Finder, Myers-Briggs, Personality Assessment, and many more, which are helpful guides to lean on in tendency identification process. So once you know your tendencies, then you can go on the journey of reflecting on how your tendencies influence your actions. The know self to lead, the self-interactive model, helps facilitate the journey from the tendency to adapted action. Tendencies produce actions that make an impact and produce a reality. However, not every reality you create is positive. That's why recognizing the connection between each of these points will help you accurately target the areas of growth and learning that bring about the desired reality you have. Your workplace, your home, or your community. I'll leave this here with you, but there are others stuff I can get into, like operating from strength, etc. Discovering your strengths to increase self-leadership. Over to you, Gary.
All right, thanks for the share, Frank. Frank went into the belly of leadership and how the context that he's speaking from, how it really helps you to come to that point of self-mastery. And today's program is dedicated to you, the audience, who's viewing this program from across the world. And I really trust that you've taken away what is being said. Again, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share, so you will be the first to get this program that we are bringing to you on a regular basis. I'm going to now come to Peter. And Peter, can you talk to us a bit about self-mastery and personal life master plan, and how it really provides person with the pathway and the opportunity to have better control and mastery over self? All to you, my friend.
So happy always to be here and to be communicating with our audience, because our intention is to empower individuals to take charge, as Frank was mentioning a while ago, taking charge of self. And we do discover that, as Frank rightly mentioned, that to know self in order to lead self, and how individuals have issues with even emotional intelligence, and how it leads back because they have not really taken charge of mastering themselves, which includes their emotions. What we do under the personal life master plan, as we help individuals, well, to master self. But what we do understand is that a lot of individuals do not know what self is, because they limit self to what they see when they look into the mirror. And if we just take that, then we can go into a direction where we can easily become narcissistic, because it is, if we're not understanding the deeper recesses of what self is. And when you talk about self, you're talking about a complex individual. And so there's a certain levels of complexity that we need to break down into compartments. And so the personal life master plan, we try to, analyze. We get individuals to become a little bit analytical of, okay, so, understanding who we are. And then we want to break down to understand that when you look at yourself, yes, you see your physiology, and your physiology represents a partnership between your body and your mind. So, yes, you see your body, but now let's take one more step to understand the impact of the environment, and how the body translate that into thoughts, into what we call the other dimensions of the soul. Because even to master self, the question is, what are we actually mastering? And unless we define and compartmentalize what it is that we're mastering, then pretty much we're going to fall short. Because if we're just looking at one set of principles and not in the context of the others, then what? Then we're not really mastering. And the thought comes to me as I say this, just to create a picture. I remember in art school, I would be concentrating on a particular area. I fall in love with this one particular area of my art, and my art teacher have to tap me on the shoulder and says, Peter, all right, move away from that now. You've done enough in that area. Step back, look at the overall picture of what you're trying to accomplish, and then build in relation to everything that is on your masterpiece. So the masterpiece that we're talking about is the individual on a whole. And when we can begin to understand the 9 dimensions of individuality, and when we understand, there's one particular area that I want us to concentrate on today. Those 9 areas is of the mind is the memory, the intellect, the thought, imagination, will, and emotion. But here is the thing right now. The building block of the mind, building block of the mind. I want our audience, as we're looking here, to understand the building block of the mind is the basis upon which everything in our lives is developed. And when we pay attention to the building block, this one building block. So when we walk out of here today, I want us to understand, or just to pay attention to this one area, how important it is, the memory. Out of all the other compartments of the mind, the memory is the basic, the most important, I would say, because everything else is built upon memory. Gary, you mentioned about learning, and the sales communication process. But even to do the sales communication process, It depends back on memory, because there's a bit of information that as you teach, that has to be memorized. We go to college, we go to school, we go to whatever it is that we are learning. All our learning, where does it goes? It goes into our memory. So if our memory is not intact, guess what? There's no form of intelligence, because intelligence is to be analytical. And what are we analyzing? We're analyzing information that is stored in our memory. Now, without memory, we can't we can't think, because what are thoughts? Thoughts is the processing or the organizing of stored data. So the memory is important right there. Without memory, there's no imagination, because what is imagination? The imagination is the design center, the imagery. It creates anything we touch, anything we feel. The imagination begins to create pictures, because it wants to pull a sense of understanding, graphic understanding of what we're dealing with. But without memory, then there's no data from which the imagination can now begin to build. Without memory, the will cannot function, because what is a function? The will is making choice. Your will is your choice, but you are making choice based upon bits of information that is already stored. And when you can't make a choice based upon information that are stored, then emotionally, as Frank mentioned, emotional intelligence, now the emotions become confused, because now the emotion can't really make it can't function to break or to give us that sense of feeling that we need to have in relating to what is around us and those who are around us. So what we want individuals to understand here, and what the personal life master plan, we want individuals to master each of those components. And when you're able to master your memory, then you have something to build upon. You can become that sales communication professional, because guess what? All the training that has been had, it is there, and you are sharp. You are able now to, your mouth can put out that information, make that sale, because the memory is intact. We can go deeper, but we'll just stop it.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. Peter emphasized the importance of memory as you position yourself to master who you are. And of course, memory, imagination is so vital. What I like about imagination is that, as a young person growing up, you had, some may say, an overactive imagination.
Mm.
That, we have seen that when young people are given a chance to, act on their imagination, sometimes they can make really, really great things happen. So I think even as an adult, you need to have that child play within you, that, ability to imagine things and make things happen. I think a guy who's really good at imagination is is the guy that is going to the moon. Um, what's it? Tesla, the guy behind Tesla vehicle. Why my memory is
Memory, right? And we're all your kind to help you out now.
so I have
Elon
demonstrated
Musk. Elon.
the importance of memory. Yeah, how can I forget Elon Musk? The great mind behind the Tesla vehicle and all the great things that he's happening. To me, he really has, a very fruitful imagination. Great guy. However, I want to bring the conversation back to the SCP, and I want to say this: you can change your reality right here and right now, and that's what self mastery is all about. You can decide to master you. You can decide to master you. And you can do this by taking ownership of your life. Take full ownership of where you are right now. You can learn, apply, and master the right tools. And some of those tools that you can learn, apply, and master is the tool of the SCP, Sales Communication Professional. We have written 11 volume of the Master the Sales Communication Process. And we have recently put out two books in the social media platform. And I'm happy to say that we have hundreds of persons that are just gravitating to those content. All right. Kudos to you. But let me try to help you to understand one way in which you could really master yourself by using the SCP and method, becoming a sales communication professional. Now, as a sales communication professional, you're going to learn about sales objective. I spoke to you about that. But guess what else? You will also learn about the influencer model. And that's all about you becoming an influencer. And you have a number of options in which you can position yourself to become an influencer in the sales communication process as a sales communication professional. One, you can learn what is the humorous storyteller influencer. We can provide that training for you and to help you to master how to become a humorous influencer in sales. You will also learn how to become what they call an inspirational influencer. And all of these are tools that is going to help you to master your craft as a sales communication professional. You will learn other tools like how to become the empowering influencer, educational influencer. So these are some of the things that you will learn when you come into these programs that's going to help you to master who you are. One of the things that, and Frank just spoke about it, you need to pour into you because the only way you can pour into others by first of all pouring into you. You want to become a subject matter expert in your field. In this program, you will also learn about how to master your personal brand. Your personal brand is all about you. All right. How do you build yourself up to become relevant to yourself and relevant to others? You will teach you a whole lot of how to master your personal brand, how to master your corporate brand. We will be talking to you about how to master the sales process. Now, the sales process is different, it's part and parcel of the whole ecosystem. But let me just walk you through a little bit about what is the sales process. To sell, we talk to you about the art of commanding attention, how to pique interest, how to arouse desire, how to move that client into action, how to make impact. Now, the reason you want to make impact is because you want a client convert. So it's how to client convert. The reason you want a client convert is because you want a cash flow optimize. We walk you through this entire ecosystem so you understand a step-by-step approach that you can now leverage. All right, you can learn, apply, and leverage to become mastery of yourself, to experience what is mastery over yourself. There are two other concepts that you're going to learn in this program is what is the pull factors of sale and what is the push factors of sale. I'll talk a little bit more of that in the next go around so you understand the programs that we are bringing to you and how it can really help you to get to that point of self mastery. Paul, I want to ask you to take up the conversation from here. I know you had a few things jot down there on the BFC and perhaps other things. Can you chime in here?
Yes, sir. Definitely. Um, I just want to say two things. Gary, you got a great memory. The only thing that I know that you got to remember is that I'm Paul and Frank is Frank.
Okay, my friend. Thank you.
And Frank, Clifton Strengths train the Clifton Strengths test. I took it and I had it deciphered by an expert. That is powerful. I love that stuff. It totally tells you who you are, and then you know why you do what you do, I knew it really helps you understand why you do what you do and how you operate. When you look at, I was shocked. I couldn't believe it. So I would recommend Clifton Strengths, taking that test and getting coached by a professional in the Clifton Strengths to everybody. Um, what is sales? How do you master it? Sales is listening, talking, providing options, solving problems, negotiating, asking for the close, and closing the deal. It's all that. And if you miss a step, you can do everything else, but if you don't ask for the sale, they're going to walk out the door. They're not going to tell you, sign me up. Maybe, maybe some people will, but most people you're going to have to potentially negotiate. Or if they say, no, I want to think about it, or I don't know if that'll work, you might be one question away from determining why it will work. One question, maybe three questions, but you have to ask questions because it's a conversation and you're talking. And in this process, a good rule of thumb is 90% listening, 10% closing. That's what a true expert does. You listen, 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 and then you expertly, masterfully provide the solution. That's a high level expert. You can be that because it doesn't take a lot. It's a very basic understanding of things. Getting on the subject of basics. Every subject has basics which need to be mastered. If you are a mechanic, now auto mechanic does a lot of things. They do brakes, they do suspension, they do a lot of things. But let's focus on the engine. What are the basics of an engine running? You have to have fuel, spark, and compression. And if your car's not starting, every single problem starts there. It's one of the three. That's a basic. If you are going to be, if you're gonna, we talked about exercise. I consider this exercise. I really consider a life skill. Self-defense is a life skill. So it's exercise, but it's also a life skill. You got to protect your family and your body and yourself because you can't do nothing if you're not alive, right?
You
Okay.
got it.
Yeah. So talking about boxing and karate, what are the basics? Punches, kicks, and footwork. Those are the first things that you learn, and you spend a lot of time learning those. You will never advance beyond much if you don't master the basics. When you're mastering a subject, I believe you're mastering it 1% at a time. One chunk at a time, you master it, and you keep on building that mountain. Um, yeah.
You're
So
right. Paul, you're right. I just want to chime in here a little bit.
mhm,
As you talk about martial arts, one of the first thing that you're introduced to is Shotokan. In Shotokan is what you call the Heian Shodan. But guess what? You spend hours upon hours, days upon days, weeks upon weeks getting the foundation right. And even when you learn the kata, they go a step forward, and that's to ensure that you have the right techniques with the kata, because you might know the kata, but in terms of how you turn into position the body in terms of techniques, you don't have that. And that's where mastery comes in. And that's where a mentor and a coach comes in. And you just said it. You know, you may not know all, but who are this for decades, they're going to be the one that is really going to help you to fast track that learning curve, refine that learning process, and then get you on that pathway to become a master at what you're doing much faster based on what.
I agree with you 1,000%. And everything happens 1% at a time. If you're going to master being a business finance consultant with us, wait, did I say BFC? We want you to be a BFC. Call us, make a lot of money, be a subject matter expert, sales expert. We're going to teach you to do that. But when you're learning to be a business finance consultant, you will learn that 1% at a time. Then all of a sudden you'll be 100% there. And you won't be an expert in a subject matter expert, sales professional. There's not a question you can't answer when somebody asks you a question. And that's who people want to work with. People who've mastered what they're doing. Nobody wants to work with an amateur. So if you are in a profession, doesn't matter what profession you're in, they want they're going to say yes to you in sales. Getting that yes in a sales transaction is much easier when they know you're an expert. Okay. What are the steps to a sale? Meet, greet, establish common ground, investigate the wants and needs, present the product. If you're selling cars, you do a demo. If you're selling other things, you don't do a demo, but you present the project. Then some people will add extra steps like a trial close or a closing. And I just want to communicate to people, because I experienced this in myself. I sold cars. I came from like a kind of a serious job into car sales that wasn't as serious. And I I had a hard time asking somebody, putting the pressure on somebody. Do you want to drive? You want to drive this home today? Well, you know what? That's not pressure. And I really recognize that. And after I got past that little hump right there that was stopping me from success, then I started selling a bunch of cars. People don't mind it if you ask them questions like that. It's expected. And that's why they're there. So if you are in sales, right, if you're not in sales, you should get into sales because that's where the money's at. The money is not hourly. The money is in sales or business ownership, which is sales because you're selling a product or a service. But yeah, there's a lot to it. But in the end result, I think it's simple. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think is sales, is it really that hard? Or is it realistically simple once you get past that point in yourself to where you don't want to put pressure on somebody? You feel like you're putting pressure on somebody, but the truth is, I don't think that you are. If they contact you for what you have to offer, they want it. So they understand that you're going to ask them, do you want to buy this? What do you think? Let's negotiate. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. Let me listen to you. It
Mhm.
sounds like a big subject, but it's just really not. I think it's very simple.
I'm going to go into that shortly, Paul. And that's why in the book, Master the Sales Communication Process, we introduced two important concepts. And I just mentioned that concept one is what is the push factors of sale? And concept two, what is the pull factors of sale? I do believe what people are exposed to in terms of sales is what is better known as the push factors of sale. That means you just have a salesperson, you train them together there and sell, 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 and sell. And they're not taking some of what Frank said into consideration, emotional intelligence. So I'll go deeper into it shortly. Just let me come to Frank and ask Frank to chime in terms of leadership and the role that leadership plays in helping the individual to master themselves and master their personal brand. All to you, Frank. You're mute, Frank. Frank, you're mute.
That's Paul.
Thank you, Gary.
All right.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes, Frank. Yes, Frank.
One of the things, okay, one of the things that we need to do in mastering self is operating from a place of strength. You know, every one of us have been in situations where the leader in front of us was not self-aware. And this is because leaders don't understand the impact of their own tendencies. And when they don't understand the impact of their tendencies, it causes people to tune them out. The truth of the matter is, they also don't know their strengths or weaknesses. Even the best leader in the world isn't great at everything. And strength isn't necessarily something you're good at. It's an activity It's an activity that makes you stronger. Strength gives you life. It's the activity you do that makes you forget how much time has passed. And while we could all probably list what some of those things are, many of us don't spend the majority of our time operating from those places. However, your fully exploited strengths are more valuable to your organization than your marginally improved weakness. Now, there's no excuse to ignore your weaknesses and continue to grow, but it does encourage you to align more of your time to your strength rather than your weakness. So your fully exploited strengths are more valuable to your organization than your marginally improved weakness. So how do you discover your strength to increase the self-leadership? Marcus Buckingham, Marcus Buck, I, you guys are hearing me? I'm getting
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
hearing you.
feedback.
I'm hearing you, Frank. I'm hearing you.
All right. So Marcus Buckingham has a 4-step framework that helps identify strengths. It's called SIGN, SIGN, because it includes the 4 most common indicators of when your strengths were found. The S stands for success. Those are certain activities where you feel in control. The I is for instincts. These are activities where before you do them, you positively anticipate them. The G is growth. These are activities where while you're doing them, it feels like your brain is growing. What feels like 5 minutes was actually 1 hour. The N is need. These are activities that fulfill a need of yours. You're not drained after completing the activity, but you feel fulfilled. So because identifying the activities that strengthen and weaken you is a lifelong process, the Wild Spark, Love It, I Loaded tool serves as a weekly strength tracker. Remember, strengths strengthen you and weaknesses drain you. But as you increase your self-awareness, as you increase your overall intelligence, you need to learn how to lean more into your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. What I'm saying here is we all have strengths and weaknesses. But as a leader, you will have the team that can work as well as you, and in some cases better than you. Now, in those cases where you are not strong, those areas can be delegated to the team member who has the know-how or wherewithal of the activity. You need to know your impact on others. You see, every leader is ultimately motivated by the capacity to impact others. And success is defined by impact. This starts with our ability to grow in emotional intelligence and understand the impact we have on others. And being able to use the second R of emotional intelligence, which is read, and adapt your leadership, it will bring out the best in those around you. However, there are some things that can hinder our ability to leave the kind of impact we desire. Ever been around any of these socially unaware leaders? The quiet talker? Am I right? Yawn talker? The teeth picker? Way too excited person? Long blinker? The hair twirler? One may laugh or get annoyed at someone saying, right, all the time we're doing that great thing with the hair. Each of us probably has our own tendency similar to one of these. The issue here isn't someone's ability to lead. It's actually their ability to read a room. And this concept is called accidental diminishing. It was introduced in and unpacked by Liz Wiseman in her book Multipliers: How the Best Leaders Make Everyone Smart. Accidental diminishers, subtly and completely unaware, shut down the intelligence of others. And here's the reality: we all have accidental diminisher tendencies. As a leader, there can often be a gap between your best intentions and the impact you're having on those around you. The challenge isn't with your intentions. The challenge is with self-awareness and understanding where you might accidentally be diminishing someone else. The minimizing your accidental diminisher tendency tool shows Liz Wyman's 9 ways to accidentally diminish someone. It also includes workarounds and learning experiments to challenge you away from your tendency and towards greater impact. So it's not about being selfish to be self-aware. Because one of the most glaring leadership mistakes we make is assuming that everyone sees the world the same way we do. And similarly, not everyone sees you the same way you see yourself. If you're not consistently taking the time to look in the mirror and reflect on your level of self-awareness, your impact on others could lead to negative unintended outcomes. Remember, great leaders master self-leadership, and this is a process that continues throughout your leadership journey. So self-awareness isn't selfish awareness. It's not selfish to learn about yourself. If you don't take the time to learn more about your tendencies, about your strengths, you will not be able to make a positive impact on others. Invest in self-awareness first to unlock greater levels of impact second.
Hmm. Hey, Gary,
That was a lot.
can I throw one thing
Go
out
ahead.
there to support what Frank said?
Go
Um,
ahead.
you mentioned, I forget how you phrased it, Frank, but what I learned from the Clifton Strengths coaching was that we have 28 or 30 strengths, right? The top 10 are the most important. The top 5 are what we operate in all the time. And if we recognize those, understand them, uh, make them what they already are ourselves. If we focus on our top 5 strengths, that's what we operate out of. That brings success. And then I forget how you phrase it, but then the things that we're not good at, we can delegate those to other people. But I think that's what brings you alive. Like you go from regular to being a rock star when you recognize those, focus on them, operate out of them. So I love everything you say, dude. I love listening to you. You're a smart man. My brain grows from hanging out with you guys. Yeah, I'm not bald. I had hair before we started this show. This is my brain growing. It's not my brain grew because of you guys.
Got you, got you. Yeah, Frank is like that. I think he brings in his years as a lecturer, years as mentoring and coaching to the platform. And of course, that's why he's here. That was definitely some great share, Frank. I heard about delegation, and there's tremendous power in delegation. I heard about self awareness, and what I'm taking away, is that self mastery is not all about self, it's about how you master yourself for that self to be a candle or to be a light, a beacon of light to people all around you. Um, and those are things that, we all need to work on. So, again, I want to say that today you're hearing from some of the experts here and we're talking to you about self mastery. And I want to show you that the team has a lot of programs and to really help you to master yourself and to master your personal brand. Now, coming back to Paul, the point that you were talking about on sales, which I promised to take on, what we see happen in the world today, a lot of companies, leaders, they start a sales department, and the key focus is us on getting that staff to get out into the field and to do cold calling and to do direct sale and to just push that sales effort. And that's one of the reasons why we're seeing is that the retention in sales is very low. The turnover rate in the sales department, and we're seeing this a whole lot globally, it's not very high. The salesperson come into the organization, take that training, try the training process, you know, they can deal with rejection, and guess what? They give up very short. And that's because they're leveraging what we call the push factors of sale. Now, we believe that all sale should has an element of push and a whole lot of pull inside of it. And what do I mean by the pull factors of sale? The pull factors of sales says that you're selling to your ideal client. You're selling to people that you know. But the only way you can sell to people that you know is when you take the time to understand your ideal client, to understand who you're selling to. And we sell to people based on a number of factors. One, you should understand what we call demographic data. You should understand psychographic data, and you should understand geographic data. Now, you as a salesperson who is trained to understand these key elements of the sales process, you are in a much better position to achieve the sale because you understand people, you understand the ideal client, their needs, wants, and expectations. And based on the fact that you understand that, you can now create the environment to attract the sale. All right. You can create that environment to inspire the sale. So, understanding what we call the pull factors of sale is when you learn, apply, and master one of the influencer model, and you now become the influencer. One method, you become the influencer, and because you are an influencer, instead of you going all the time and push, 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 because you're now visible, you're now reaching people, you're now making impact because of your content, you're attracting persons to you, and persons are coming to where you're at to invest in your products and your services. We see that this element that I'm talking about specifically here is not adopted by companies across the world. Very few adopt it. And those are the companies that excel tremendously in their sales effort. We believe that when you can now train your team to understand who they're selling to, understand why they're selling to those persons, and give them the tools to inspire the sales from a data driven standpoint, they are in a much better position to achieve a desired sales outcome. So, whether you're applying what we call the push factors of sale, you should not apply the push factors of sale from a blindfold over your eye or with that blindfold over your eye. Take the time to understand who you're selling to. Take the time to understand people. And you have a lot of information out there that you can use to your advantage to optimize your sales outcome. And I want to say this in closing. When you come to us to become a BFC, a business finance consultant, you too will be exposed to this type of sales training, because immediately I can say to you, you're selling to business owners, but not just any business owner. You're selling money to business owner that wants to grow, that wants to scale, that takes themselves serious. And I am trusting that every business or wants to be that successful, although it's not. And I will explain why perhaps in another broadcast. But you will be trained to understand businesses. And I want to say this also from the studies that we are doing, there are many factors that influence a business success and a business failure. You will be trained to understand what makes a business successful, what makes a business fail, and how to look at mindset that can propel a business forward and mindset that is going to undermine that business success. And once you start to see mindset that is going to undermine a business success, you can desist from targeting those businesses because you're going to put all of your focus now. Yeah, you're putting all of your focus now on the businesses that are really ready and serious to do business. And let me put it this way. We want to work with businesses that are taking themselves so serious that they want to go global. They want to make an impact on the world. The training that we will provide for not only the BFCs, but to rising stars in business is not to keep them small, but is to help them grow and expand, reach greater markets, attain greater market share, increase their profitability, and achieve a bigger business objectives. And those are some key reasons why we are doing and what we are doing here. So, on the concept of mastering who you are, to bring yourself to self mastery, to bring yourself to that point to master your personal brand, we don't want you to think in lack of limitation, doubts, and fear. In working with this team, we're going to help you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses, yes, but we're going to help you to grow beyond those weaknesses. We're going to help you to find your strengths. And once you find those strengths, we're going to help you to go global with those strengths that you have. Because going global, it's relevant to cash flow optimization. It's relevant to growing a strong brand. And the beauty about this, users saw me advertising uh, two Shopify links. One of them is habitsandmoney.myshopify.com. This is a global brand because the products that you're going to find here, guess what? Consumers can access them from anywhere in the world. So when we talk about taking you global, it's not just a gift. We have been doing this and we want to do this for you as we bring you to that point of self-mastery. So I want you to visit this site, habitsandmoney.myshopify.com, and see some of the books that we have there and learn from it. I'm going to send you to another link because this is we didn't do it one time, we're doing this multiple times. I want you to also go to this next Shopify link that we call the bestsellerportal.myshopify.com. This is another platform that we have taken global. So you can be in Canada, in the UK, in the Philippines, in Japan, and across the world. You can go to this portfolio right now and you can get books, you can get training programs, you can get a range of different things. These brands have gone global. We can work with you and help set you up in this way so you have storefront that is visible across the world. And that's the vision behind what we are doing. So I want to come back to Peter, and then we're going to go around the room and start to wrap up. What are your thoughts here, Peter? You're mute, Peter. You're mute.
Yes. Sorry, thanks for that. I was just thinking through the various presentations from each of each one here, and I'm thinking in terms of competition. And as we're talking about mastering the sales communication process, the human individual, human person, is going through a time of one of the greatest, I would say not even greatest, but gravest competitions that we have to interface with, and that is artificial intelligence. And billions and billions of dollars is being invested in the development of artificial intelligence. And in terms of what goes into human intelligence, very small, comparably small investment is being made where human intelligence is concerned. So mastering self, we have to understand that we have to take responsibility. We cannot wait for the school system. We cannot wait for institutions to invest. Individuals have to realize that if I don't do it for myself, and as I love what Frank was saying about, self-awareness is not selfishness. It only becomes selfishness when an individual becomes the center of their own intention, separate from the community. You are building yourself, you're developing yourself for the sake of the family, for the sake of the community, for the sake of the corporate structures that are around us. But the bottom line that we have to understand is that humans, the human person, is going through a period right now where we are, our intelligence is in competition. So we have to invest in our own intelligence. And the first place, the building blocks and what we want individually, there's one thing that they can do, walk away from, to go practice today as they're learning to master their personal development, designing their personal master plan. That can be very complex to to create a master plan for self. But what we want to say, bring it down to what you were talking about, the kata. When you break it down to small, just one component, and you work on that component. So the component that we would want individuals to understand today, work on your memory. Gary, I listened to you speaking, and I know that you took time. What you are saying didn't just come last night. You're communicating and become a sales communication expert, somebody who speaks well. It's not going to happen this morning, and you expect to. No, you have to invest time in study. You got this. And what is study? Study is taking bits of information and storing it long enough into your memory, taking techniques. And Frank again mentioned about, reading becoming a lost art. No wonder why artificial intelligence, cause us human beings to seem as if we're not so smart. And it's not really that. It's only because we rely too much on the artificial. Our food becomes artificial. Our environment becomes artificial. We don't have, artificial flowers, artificial so many things, artificial personalities even. But what we're saying today is invest some time, walk away. This is what I want to pass to somebody today. Work on your memory, read that book, take time out and discover a portion of what you love, and invest time in researching that which you love and commit it to memory. Commit that, so when you open your mouth, it just flows flawlessly, and it will now discover that pull factor that you're mentioning, Gary. When you're around that individual, your presentation and the individual as they speak, it becomes so attractive that persons who are in need of that information will just be attracted to them.
Peter, you've made some valid points. And what I want to do is to do a comparative analysis between human development and artificial intelligence. What we have seen is that over the history of human development, we are focusing a lot on a generalist approach in terms of how we provide education and information. And they have a generalist approach, and you have the specialist approach. I do believe that a lot of emphasis has to be placed on really nurturing people to become specialists in their field. I think from the time you're exposed to the academic content, you are exposed to it from a generalist standpoint. And perhaps until you get to the tertiary level, then is when you start to perhaps look at the specialization. And in my view, I'm thinking, what if that specialization would have started from your first day into the academic fraternity? Now, when we look at artificial intelligence, there's two equations I want to look at this from. We have artificial intelligence that is operating on that generalist platform, but guess what? We have artificial intelligence that is also operating on a specialist platform. And I say this against the backdrop that while there's a lot to be worried about in terms of artificial intelligence, because millions of persons' job security can be affected, I want to say new jobs will be created. That's one. And also, if we understand AI, artificial intelligence, and we integrate artificial intelligence into our work life, there's tremendous advantage in that regards. And I can tell you this, in our work model, we are rolling out systems. And in rolling out systems, we have to interface with artificial intelligence, because if we don't, we're going to be way behind the curve. So we now have to adapt to the artificial intelligence. But now, as you start to adapt to the artificial intelligence and incorporate it into your business lingo, what we are seeing now, the ability to put the artificial intelligence to work for you, because it doesn't matter how smart we are. There's certain things that you're doing on the generalist artificial platform that it doesn't matter how good you are. All right. You really can't read the algorithm. You need the AI to help you to read that. And once you incorporate the specialist AI that can read and diagnose and give you the feedback that you want, it gives you better control over the integration process. So I just want to add that based on what you have said. And you talk, Peter, from time to time that you see the problems, and you were talking about the problems, and the big question that you finally ask yourself, what role can you play to fix the problem? And I guess we all have to ask ourselves that. As time progresses, we will talk some more about that, because I do believe in our own way, we are morphing into developing something that is transformational, that can provide better opportunities to people to really master the subject that we're talking about today, and that's self-mastery. All right. I do believe a lot of what we're going to be looking at over a period of time is really helping people to connect with their true sense of self and flow from their true sense of self, where they're really at that point of recognizing that their life is special, it's unique. And you need to bring yourself to that point where you can begin to take ownership and control over your dreams, your hopes, and your aspiration. And that's all we were asking for. As humanitarian, one of our roles is to really help people to fall in love with themselves, and know that falling in love with yourself is not selfish, as Frank would have said. All right. But it's falling in love with yourself and allowing that love for self to be a ripple effect in the world. We'll talk more about that. Frank, all to you, my friend. Closing remarks, then I'm going to come back to Peter to give his closing remarks, and then I'm going to come to Paul. Frank, all to you, my friend.
I leave with how to thrive and not just survive. On social media, we will often see messages about thriving and not just surviving, or to be the creator of your life. But with the seemingly endless demands of modern life and pressure to uphold both our professional and personal commitments, this can seem impossible at times. However, if you have an attitude that's on survival, that can be very draining and also unhealthy. And in extreme cases, not addressing these concerns and attitudes can lead to burnout and health problems. So, as part of your self development, one needs to learn how to manage oneself in a complex world to avoid burnout and to excel as a leader. We see many people use the pop culture mantra, you can't pour from an empty cup, which indicates that leadership development should first begin with intrapersonal development. So you need to include self-awareness and self-regulation. And what I'm here to do is explore the concept, help you to understand the concept of self-mastery, both because it both involves understanding yourself and what is your place in the world, as well as being attentive to the moment. And so my job is to help you gain the skills in self-mastery through the lenses of mindfulness, priority setting, and time management. And so as we move into this program, into this new sphere, concepts will be defined. The questions that we provide to you will help you assess yourself in each area such as mindfulness. When do I take time to notice how I'm feeling emotionally and physically? Do I really break or spill things by accident? Am I rarely distracted? Do I notice my surroundings as I walk or drive around? Do I catch myself running on autopilot? Am I truly aware and paying attention to the task at hand? So these are questions as we develop this program, as we go, we'll delve deeper into tips on how to apply mindfulness in your daily life. And I trust that what we've said to you today will be taken not just with a spoon of
A pinch
salt
of salt.
or a
Not
pinch
just
of
with a
salt,
pinch of salt, a whole spoon.
but you will really take it in. In my case, it is a smatter of honey.
Got you. All right, thanks for that share, my friend. I want to come now to Peter. Peter, I would like to have your thoughts and your closing remarks on today's topic.
Yeah, Gary, how I like to, the problem, I think, the major problem that we're having in our world is what I call the complexity of human simplicity. The complexity of human simplicity, in the sense that so much focus is placed outside, and we do not take time to look inside. So the complexity is that there is so much that is going on around, and we do not take the time to really simplify. So we want to flip that around. So how we flip that around, it is the simplicity of human complexity. And the human being, to look at the human being, a lot of persons do not look at the human being because they think that even to think of the human mind, the way how it works, and there is so much unanswered question, the way how the brain works, the more they tend to look at trying to understand the way how even the human brain works. It is so dynamic, and where it is leading, the issue is where it is leading. Because they do not want to interface with where it is leading, they make it more complex than what it ought to be. So what we try to do then is to simplify human complexity in breaking it down into small portions, small actionable um, pieces that individuals can deal with those small pieces. And when we begin to deal with those small pieces, then what will happen is that it will create that ripple effect. So, what we want to encourage our listeners to do today, you are complex, but if you simplify your complexity to understand just that there are just 9 dimensions to it, 9 dimensions. Your look in your mirror, you see your body, but inside your body there are some deeper levels. There is your mind and your spirit, and then just look at look at your mind for what it is. Take the time out to look what the mind is, understand what the various components of the mind are. And so far I've counted those 6 pieces. And if you just look at one piece in time, today I'm going to focus on my memory, then another day I'm going to focus on my thoughts. Take another day, I'm going to look at my imagination. Take another time, research your will. Take another day to research your emotion. And when we begin to just break down these or simplify the complexity over time, we will reach genius level.
All right, thanks for that share, Peter. You mentioned the complexity of human simplicity. And I just want to take you up at that, because I do believe that you are perfectly correct. And I say that from the standpoint that today, with, I want to say, a limited understanding of humanity, either intentionally or unintentionally so, we are hearing the same Elon Musk. I think he has some good qualities, but there are certain things that I question. They are now considering, I think they have just done the first test of planting a chip in the human brain,
Right,
and to help in the human to to be good, to be like machine.
right.
I think that that is a slap in the face of humanity, from the standpoint that research is also showing that most of us, we don't even use 5% of our brain power.
Bingo.
And what we have seen is that those who have been able to tap into the greatness of their thinking and their mind, they are excellent. The way they are able to do mathematical calculation and, to memorize things from training, it's almost unhuman, because we have never seen human operating at that level. But in spite of the fact that they're the evidence of what is possible in your humanity, perhaps there's a conscious decision to not put
Mm-hmm.
a lot of emphasis on optimizing human in its natural form to that extent. So we have to make human feel complete now by inserting that chip into the brain, to bring out human greatness. That is not human greatness at all. It's not. But at the right time, we got to go into that. As humanitarian, we stand firm against that. We believe that you should pump more energy into really helping humanity to flourish in its natural essence. We have all it takes, to make this world super great. While artificial intelligence can be there, we just need to give humanity a fair chance, a fighting chance to be what it ought to be. All right. And there's so much that I want to say, but I'm going to pause here for now. Paul, your closing remarks. You can talk to us a lot about perhaps the financial instruments and BFC, because part of what we do here is make capital available to businesses in the US at the moment. All to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you. Financial products we have available for you and your business. Equipment financing, which is done through equipment leasing. That's the best way to get it. The largest companies in the world use equipment leasing to get ownership of equipment. They don't pay cash. They don't bank finance it. They lease it. The same tools that Coca-Cola, General Motors, everybody has available out there that they're using, I've got them for you. The same tools, same toolbox. So equipment financing. If you're in business, you got equipment, you need more to expand your business, work with us. Lowest cost of money, easiest approvals, and you get to work with us. You'll have a great time with us, talking with us, right? Okay. Commercial and investment real estate financing. We've got you covered there. And with equipment financing and real estate financing, excellent credit, obviously approved quickly with the best cost of money. Very difficult credit deals. We're going to get you back on track, get you approved, get that equipment for you so that your business can expand, you can make more money, and your credit score improves. Just make the payments on time. We're going to take you from where you're at to where you want to go and where you need to be. Okay, cash flow products, factoring, purchase order financing. If your cash flow is slow, we can help you with that. We want to work with you. So Paul at patriotbfc.com, direct message Gary. His emails either came across or is going to come across. If you're watching the replay, grab his email and get a hold of both of us to set an appointment. My closing remarks on what we're talking about today are self-mastery is within reach, but you have to see the benefit. You have to want it. There's got to be some benefit for you to get on that journey and make it happen. So what's the benefit? It could be money, it could be health, it could be emotional, it could be a lot of things. But that spark comes from you seeing something that you want and need. So, but once you have that spark, self-mastery comes easy. When you get the fire lit underneath of you, you're going to move. Okay. Let's see here. Everything is step by step in life. Every single thing. You don't go from day one and at the end of day one in training, you are a 100% expert. Everything is 1% at a time. You got something digital, your TV's loading, your computer, whatever it is. Something's loading, but you see the countdown. And if you have slow internet, that countdown is slow. 1 gets to 20, it stalls there for a little bit. Then you're climbing up and you finally get to 100%. Okay. But if you have high speed internet, and I'm relating that high speed internet and that slow internet to your motivation. If you have high motivation / high speed internet, that count, it's not a countdown, it's a count up from 1 to 100. But that can go very quickly. You see the screen, you're at 1%, then you're at 80%, and then you're logged in. So I just want to leave you with this. Everything's within reach. You got to have whatever your motivation is, that you need it. So harness your motivation, light the fire underneath of you, and pick a subject, start learning fast because you can pull it off. And if that subject is sales, you're in the right group. Sales, leadership, master planning, capital, we're the people who are going to benefit you. We're going to benefit from working with you, but you're going to benefit from working with us. We're going to become a team with you. That's my final thoughts.
I really love that share. And Paul, what I took away from what you have just said is that everything has a process. And when you master the process, you're able to master the game. And I really trust that what we all have said, you're taking it as the process because Peter gave you a process, Frank gave you a process, Paul gave you a process. And when you combine these processes, they're all there to fast track your path to starting a business, scaling a business, cash flow in that business, accessing capital, mastering the role of leaders. These are all processes. And we all talk about this. To manage a business successfully, you need multiple processes. And that's why you have an organization chart. And on the organization chart, you have a public relation manager or director They know their process. You have a CFO, a chief financial officer. They understand their process. You have a marketing director. They have a process. And it's by combining these processes, you build a winning formula. And that's what we are doing here for you. So I really trust that you're seeing that. And in the event you need access to capital to grow and scale, to fast track your business, it doesn't matter where you are in the states. You could be in 50 states. In the US, reach out to us. We have multiple type of financial instruments that you can access right now, or we can get you prepared to access in a very short period of time. All right. So with that being said, I wanted us leave the program off with where I started it. Um, 5 habits that you should master. Get adequate rest. You need it. Get adequate daily exercise. You need it. Eat the right food. Peter, just based on what you were talking about earlier, one of the reasons we can't self-actualize the way we want to is because the food, it don't have all the mineral. It's working against us. So ensure you eat the right food. Ensure that you spend time with family. Family is an extension of you. And the last one that I want to say is to invest in relationships, social relationships. Myself and Frank and Paul and Peter and our community, that's what we're invested in, quality, healthy social lifestyle. You can do it too. It's, as Paul would have said, anything is possible. It's within your reach. So with that being said, I want to say welcome to Friday, and do enjoy. I know in the Caribbean, uh, Paul, Frank, where you're at, you're preparing to enjoy the mashermani, right? Happy mashermani, my friend. And I want to say to all Guyanese who are about to, have that mashermani celebration, happy mashermani. All right. All right. With that being said, I want to thank everyone from across the world who has been looking at today's program. I want to thank you for taking the time out for being with us today. Do remember to like, subscribe, and share so you will be the first to get this program when we are on air. Be good. Take care of yourself and take care of someone else next to you. See you in the next broadcast. See you guys.
See ya.
All right.